Y'all, bear with me here. I don't go live often. Bear with me. I don't go live often. I'm trying to figure out how to work this thing. Andrew, who? My cousin Andrew? I'm trying to accomplish something here, so just bear with me. I know you had an Instagram, Andrew. All right, I think I almost got it. I'm in California, so it's not late over here. It's 8 p. It's almost, what is it? Yeah, it's almost 8 o'clock, so it's 7:54 in California, so I'm not up late. I should ask you the same thing. All right. Now, how the hell do I do this? Okay. I'm about to tell you right now, Andrew.
My
It
brother.
worked.
My brother, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Man.
How you feel?
Man, I'm man. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Follow my brother Jeremy. Follow my brother. Follow a CD law firm. Come on in. As soon as y'all get in, I need you to click up there, the top button, and follow this page. Man, I just gotta say thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
I can't I don't know what else to say, man.
Yeah.
You know, like, you already know, like I said, 10 years, and then you pop in for the last 10 months to a year, and it's like, that was it.
Yeah. Got it wrapped up. Like,
Man,
what took so long?
no, seriously, man. So, I mean, we're not going to be on there too long, but I just wanted the people to see, you know, from a young attorney like yourself, you know, a brother who has gone through law school. For those, just for those of y'all who may not know, okay, again, when you first come in here, follow my brother. That's the first thing I want y'all to do. Follow Acelia Law. I want to make sure that page gets upward of, you know, at least 10K. Want to get them there. Jeremy,
We'll
same
take that.
thing.
We'll take that.
To start, it's gonna triple and quadruple easily. But and I want, anytime you guys see something going on, an injustice, or if someone needs representation, proper representation, you know, make sure you reach out to them to get a at least a consultation to see if they can help them. And if not, they can refer you. They have, you know, different solutions and at least resources to get you in the right direction. But
Yeah.
follow this page. First thing, I wanted to just bring this up. I've known this brother for quite some time. Before he was an attorney, before he took his bar exam, when he was in law school.
Yeah.
We could go back then. I think it was 7 years now. I think maybe 8.
2017. So
Yeah,
that's when we met at the family summit out there in Atlanta.
yeah.
It was like around October 2017.
hmm Yeah, my brother, man, was so 6 years roughly. And I told him back then when I first met him, I just said, you know what, man, one day you're gonna be my attorney. You're gonna be my lawyer one day.
The one thing
And
you didn't tell me,
yeah,
the one thing you didn't tell me back then was that you had an open case.
yeah, that's
So
true.
I had
Yeah,
no idea. Yeah, you didn't tell me that back then.
that's
You were
true.
just like, you're gonna be my attorney. I was like, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
that's a fact. That's a fact, man. And you know, but we know how law works, man. And it's just interesting. You know, it's very interesting to see how everything plays out. And again, I'm proud of you, bro, because you know we're two young black men. First off, you know, I think you're 29 right now. My brother's not even 30,
Yeah.
y'all. I want y'all to know something. This is a young, cold soldier. Young cold soldier, and the whole team is a bunch of young
Yeah.
attorneys, young assistants, young, you know, everyone is young, strong, sharp, and interested in fighting for the people. But bro, just, I don't know, man, give us an idea of what your thoughts were when when I called you and I told you about this and it landed in your lap and you were like, wait, this has been going on since when?
Yeah.
Like, I just want you to give us some of your thoughts on what the heck was going through your head when you got this call.
Yeah. So I think when I first learned about it, it was even years before I actually took the case, because after I got out of law school in 2018, I worked for the public defender's office in Miami for 2 years. And so during that time period, I couldn't, get involved in your case or anything like that. And I was, fresh off the block.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember you telling me, or me finding out about the case, I think when you got held in contempt.
Yeah.
And when you got when you got held in contempt in court, I had no idea this case was even going on. And I maybe even I saw it, or I reached out to you after, or when you got out or something like that. Because you were in jail for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. I was in jail for 2 weeks, yeah.
Being held in contempt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so at that point I kind of like Google searched the case, try to figure out what was going on. When I seen that you were in jail, obviously I couldn't call you while you were there. So when you got out, I know we discussed it, and I had asked you things about, who your attorney was at the time, and how long the case had been going on. The biggest thing that stuck out to me was that at that time, I think the case had been going on for like 6-7 years when I first learned about it. And I was like, "Are you on trial for murder? Like,
Right.
why is it taking so long for this case to resolve?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?" And then you told me about, attorneys that you had who like passed away,
Yep.
in the middle of representing you, and just other attorneys who tried to get you to take plea deals and whatnot. And it's just like, it was crazy how long the case had been open. But it was hard to wrap my head around like the facts, like, and people that are out there really don't know what it is that you were charged with and whatnot. And it's hard to kind of understand it because it don't make sense.
Right.
Like the case, it doesn't really make sense. But like for like a brief synopsis of what they were charging you with, initially you had like 2 counts. One was for insurance fraud, and the other was for presenting false Medi-Cal claims, right? Or creating documents to then present them to Medi-Cal so that you could receive money from Medi-Cal. All right, and they're saying that, you were part of this scheme that stole over $3 million from the government, yada, 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 right? Case dismissed. That's the case dismissed.
Exactly.
Yeah, they said Rizza case dismissed Islam stole $3 million from the government.
Come on. I'm like, where?
Yeah.
Show me where it is now.
Yeah, right. Because as long as I know you, I ain't see you walking around with no Rolexes and Cuban links and whatnot.
Come on, man.
I ain't never seen you pick me up in a Rolls Royce. I'm like, I'm expecting this. This is my friend. This is my brother. Like, where's that money?
Yes.
And I never seen any of it. So I was like, this it don't sound right. But basically, like, what they're saying is that you were part of this organization, AMHEC, and you were involved in basically creating fake sign-in sheets and signing up students for this services for Medi-Cal, and that you would submit billing to you were part of a scheme that would submit billing to Medi-Cal and then get money back for fake services that you provided to students. Fake services meaning that you never taught anybody, you never helped anybody with drug and alcohol and counseling. I mean, like, anybody who knows you or knows, the Nation of Islam at all knows that that's y'all's MO.
That's the work.
You take somebody in prison or out of prison and you introduce them to the Nation of Islam, and all of a sudden you got somebody in a suit and tie who don't want to eat pork.
Come on.
don't want to do no more drugs.
Come on.
And no more alcohol, wants to, do the right thing with his life and whatnot. And so they're saying that the very fabric of what you, came up in and what you've been taught and what you teach others was fake. And that you defrauded the government and got all this money from the government and whatnot. And obviously none of that was true.
Simple. Man.
Yeah.
Man, that very well, I would say a nice summation, a very, very good synopsis. I hope y'all heard this, because at the end of all of that, case dismissed, damn it. 10 years, man. Eight years from filing, 10 years since they shut the program down. And the point is, I just want y'all to know something. Good people do exist. Everybody's not out here, scheming and trying to scam folks, and everybody's not. As a matter of fact, the majority of people are not doing that, especially within our communities. So to even see this going on, I don't think y'all know. I have former students who are watching right now. I have former staff who are watching right now. Literally right now, I'm looking at certain names who were in the program, who were helping the people in the program, who were helping people with literacy, you know, want to help people with drugs, helping people with communication skills, anger management. We had a whole lot of that. We have all this stuff going on. And for people to try to come up with this insane allegation just made me think, wow. So this really does happen when you are truly helping the people, exposing the system that benefits from your people being in a negative situation, being on drugs, being under all of these conditions. They really make money from our people being in all of these arenas. So when you are pulling your people out, you're essentially taking money away from alcohol. You're taking money away from different drugs. You're taking money away from certain areas that really make money off of keeping your people in this, you know, low condition. So it helped me to thoroughly understand just how real this system is. You know, to be doing this work since I was 9 years old, it's kind of insulting, you know. But again, I'm thankful, y'all, because as he mentioned, he said plea deals. Jeremy, I want you to just let them know, bro, without going too deep into anything, because we already know this is going to be put up somewhere. But because people don't know, man, I didn't know. I've never experienced anything like this in my life, so I had no idea how slick these people are. I want y'all to know they were begging me damn near to take plea deals before Jeremy got on the case. They had offered me, I think, four or five before he came onto the case. Then when he got on the case, they offered more. Now, you just so y'all know, I want all of you to learn from this. Is my point. I really want you to take, you know, something away from this and truly build yourself and do the right thing. But wait, my brother.
So the division of the Attorney General's office that was prosecuting this case, the Medi-Cal division, right? They have on their website numbers, statistics of how many cases they, you know, have won over the years, how many cases they've lost. And so they break it down by year. So 2017, 2018, 2019, and they'll put on there, you know, how many cases they've lost. And it's like 1 case a year, 2 cases maybe this year. The next year is like 0 cases, right? And the way that they count their cases,
the government loses.
That the government loses, right? So like basically they win all their cases is what they're saying. If you go to the Attorney General's website in California, you'll see that. And so the way that they count their wins and losses, you know, it's skewed. Like if they go to trial and they win, you know, they get a guilty verdict. I guess they count that as a win. But they're not counting this dismissal as a loss. It don't go in the loss column, right? And so it doesn't go in the loss column. And so they have this image that they just win all their cases and that they you know, they do proper investigations and their work is thorough, and that's just not the case. So in this situation, you got the government, the Attorney General's office, who prosecuted Rizza, knowing that they could not prove this case. They prosecuted him for it for years, nearly a decade, and then they offered him plea deals. They offered him plea deals knowing they couldn't prove the case, right? Normally, when people are offered plea deals and they see what type of time they're up against, and they know that the government has this sort of record of wins and losses, and they know how strong the government is, and it says, you know, state of California versus whoever your name is, John Doe, Rizza Islam, you know, or United States government versus a person. They say, well, you know, I don't have the resources, I don't have the knowledge, the time, or the energy to fight these people and play around with them and mess up my life, right? And so I'm going to take this plea that they offer, whether it's to probation, whether it's to some small amount of jail time, whether it's to some prison time. They'll take that plea offer because they don't want to risk going up against the government and losing, right? And so that's the situation, you know, that Rizza was up against. That, and it's not just, you know, only Rizza. That's black and brown people all over this country, thousands, right? They have to go through that and are given plea offers for cases sometimes they didn't commit, sometimes things that they didn't do, they're overcharged and whatnot, and that's the reality of it. But I guess the point I want to make about your case is that they offer plea deals, right? And the plea deals got so, you know, they were so minor relative to what they were saying, you know, you did. They were offering for Rizza, to plea out and be on probation for a year, and they would reduce the felonies to misdemeanors, and he can get that expunged later on maybe, and he wouldn't have to pay any of this $3 million worth of restitution and whatnot. Like these plea offers are something that anybody would just jump on. Let's get this case. It's been 10 years. Let's get this case done and over with. Let's make sure that this case, I don't want to come back to court every 3 months. I don't want to be bothered with it. I got these attorney's fees that I'm paying, upwards of $30,000 in fees and costs and money for experts. Like, I don't have that kind of money. I'm not dealing with, like, let's just get this case done and over with. They say I can get it expunged.
Right.
They say I can, I can take probation. Let's just get it done and over with. That's the mindset of a lot of people. And it's not like it's not that person necessarily has the wrong mindset, but it's called, the wearing down process. The government will wear people down over a course of time to get numbers, right?
Yes.
So had they got Rizza Islam convicted, had he taken a plea, the headlines would read, Rizza Islam pleads guilty to insurance fraud.
Exactly.
Rizza Islam is a fraudster, right? And those conversations would vibrate, throughout the media, and you would see negative stories about you all over the place. It's not the same, when it's positive, right? You have to put out your story now. Before, they were doing it. They were making sure they was on top of it, right? Even the bloggers out there, they were making sure they was on top of it. Oh, Rizza's, might go to prison. You got trial coming up. Like these people are waiting to see something bad happen to you. But when you prevailed, it's not put out there as much.
Quiet.
But they did offer plea deals. They even threatened, when they knew they couldn't prove the case, they even threatened to file additional charges against you. And the prosecutor, she contacted me and she's like, well, I have this additional charge that I plan on filing based on my review of the preliminary hearing transcript. And let me know if he wants to accept the plea, or I'm going to file this additional charge, which requires mandatory prison, right? And obviously, I have my conversations with you, and I let you know, because I have to convey those offers to you. I have to let you know, this is what's going on. This is what they're offering. This is what they're saying. They're gonna withdraw the offer if you don't take it, and we're going to, have to fight another charge that could get you even more time. Obviously, Rizza said he didn't do nothing. I'm innocent. Let's keep going, right? And so coming up to the date where she told me I had to accept the plea offer by, she kept emailing me, and she says, I have this charge I'm about to file. Let me know if you want to. If he wants to take the plea. And I ignored her. The day gets closer, she's like, tomorrow I'm going to go file this amended information.
Wow.
Let me know if he wants to take the plea. I ignored her. The day of, she says, I'm in court right now. I finished court at 10:30 and I'm about to go file, these documents. Let me know by 10:30 whether he's willing to take the plea, or I'm going to go and file it.
Wow.
Right? And what I do? I didn't answer.
That's right.
Because we're going to trial, right? Like, there's nothing to talk about here. Like I told you, you either dismiss the case, or that's it. Or we go to trial and we get it, and we fight for a not guilty verdict. That's it. There's no in between. There's no, I'm going to let him plead out to some misdemeanor. He doesn't want it, right? No. I'm not the one that makes the decision at the end of the day. It's always the client. But I make sure that the client knows what they're up against. They're confident in their own defense, right? And that they can make a decision. So they did that, right? And then what happened is she went and she filed the information. She added a new charge, right? Trying to call a bluff, right? So she added this new charge and she claimed that the offer was off the table. But everybody knows that if you're going up to trial and they say that the offer's off the table, you can always sort of get that offer back if you beg enough. All right. So she was expecting me at some point, or expecting Rizza and I at some point to come back to the table and ask for that plea offer as we got closer to trial. They gave us a bunch of discovery, a bunch of extra documents and whatnot that we had to go through.
Terabyte plus, just so y'all know.
More than and that was just the second. That was the second set of discovery, right? There was terabytes of discovery, right? And we're talking about paper discovery. These are PDF documents. And we talk, and so imagine how many thousands of pages it must take to make up a terabyte worth of data. This is not video footage. This is not photographs. These are documents, PDFs, and that's a lot of paper to go through.
So y'all understand, terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes, and if it's easy to store all of that if it's videos, but when you're talking about paper, and just
Yeah.
documents, you're talking about tens of thousands of pages of documents. Go ahead, my brother. Just had
Yeah,
to
yeah,
let no.
yeah, and maybe hundreds, but yeah, imagine a terabyte. Some of your laptops, if you wouldn't be able to fit all these documents on your laptops, right? Like the because it's so much. So you go to the store, you buy a laptop, it starts out at 128 gigabytes
Mm.
storage, then it moves up to 256, then it's 512 gigabytes. If you spend enough money, you might get a laptop with a terabyte on it, right? So that's the type of games that they play. But they filed the amended information, and they expected you to come to the table and renegotiate with them. But that never
Mm.
happened. And so that does happen when you get closer to trial, right? And there's reasons why people plea out at is to get closer to trial. Again, attorney's fees and costs. When you
Yes.
go to trial, trial costs even more money than just being represented prior to trial. You got to set up for trial. You got to prepare for trial. I had to fly in from Miami, right? I had to get hotels, rental cars, right? I had to set up, my family back home to make sure that they were okay when I left, right? It actually, it wears you down going to trial. And so
Mm.
they figured if we can wear him down, then when trial comes, he'll reach back out to us and he'll say, let's just take this plea. Or I'll convince Rizza to take the plea because it's cheaper, it's more economical, it's beneficial to him, right? And that was never an option. And that's the important thing about having an attorney that's going to fight for you, is that they don't look for the easy way out. Like we're not in it for necessarily the money,
That's right.
because if those are your motivations and if that's your intention, then you're not going to get the best results for your client. You're going to get the best results for your bank account and for your pockets.
Come on, man.
And so that that's important when you consider an attorney, right? I'm not telling you to go find an attorney that's not going to charge you any money,
You're right. Of course.
right? Because that's not a good sign either.
Right.
But it's a balance. So yeah,
Mm.
that was the situation with him in his plea. And we went to trial, and they wasn't ready. They wasn't ready because they were never going to be ready. They were putting up this bluff the entire time, like, oh, we're ready to go to trial. We have all of this lined up against him. We're gonna file additional charges and all of that. And it was all BS the whole time. And you kind of got to be able to read them throughout the process to figure out, like, look, if we take this to the door, it's very likely that they'll dismiss it because they don't have anything.
See, you know what, man, brother, I appreciate you for going through that, because I want y'all to really see this. To all my young brothers, young sisters, to all of those watching, I need you to thoroughly know what happens when you get involved with doing things that truly help the people. Now, I can't speak for somebody who gets involved in criminal activity. That's the difference. Your brother wasn't involved in no criminal activity. Clearly, case dismissed. But for those of you who get into situations,
You
those of you
gotta
get
make
into,
sure you
I,
sound that off.
I gotta have to every time, and it's like an exclamation point. But for those of you who get involved in situations where you have to decide whether or not to get involved in criminal activity, I encourage you not to, because you don't want to have to go through this process. This is not an area you want to get in. You don't want to get involved in this, especially if you are involved in areas that are sincerely exposing the government, exposing the system, building up the communities that the system is benefiting from being in a negative condition, illiterate, on drugs, unhappy, unhealthy. You gotta know what you're dealing with. This enemy is very real. Satan is very real. The system is sincerely real when it comes to sucking the blood of the people and keeping us down. It's very real. I've been through it, and I did not bow down. 10 years. Y'all got to understand this. And in between this case, like, our brother Jeremy was saying, he didn't even know about it until he didn't know about it. It was going on when
Yeah,
I first met him. He didn't know about it,
yeah,
and because I
yeah.
wasn't telling people about it.
Yeah, it must
Yeah.
have, and it's weighing. Like, I'm pretty sure it's weighing on you the whole time. Like, you
Yes.
going through all this stuff, you fight for people, and like people don't even know that you're going through this criminal case, and that they're trying to charge you with this, and that. And you're facing prison, you're facing time. Your whole family too.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just you, right?
Yeah.
And people don't even know this stuff as you walk around. You walk around with all this baggage,
Yeah.
and it's crazy.
No, it's very real, and I'm gonna let y'all know this too. The other thing is, when you're dealing with stuff like this, he mentioned, like, for example, y'all see your brother out here doing all of this work, helping the people and fighting for the people, and doing all of that. Meanwhile, I have all of this that I'm dealing with, every 3 months, going back to court every 3 months, just to sit in there for maybe 40 minutes for them to just say, okay, a new date, count to join. Okay, we'll see you back here at this date. And they kept doing that over and over and over, putting my family through it, putting my friends through it, putting people that were close to me through it. And then you not only had the enemy talking about it, Channel 7 and all these different bloggers, but you had some of our own people all over YouTube running with an accusation. No proof, nothing was proven. You know, this is a continuing case, meaning nothing has been determined, no guilty, no proof, no nothing. Just here's an accusation. And you had our own people dogging your brother. I'm talking about, man, bro. I mean, bro, they were adding stuff to the case. You'd be like, damn. It was adding stuff to, they were adding stuff to the accusation.
Like Rizza Islam sells children into slavery.
Oh, I was like, what the? I said, yo, man, oh, I said, this is sick. This is crazy. You know, but it was a real thing. So I'm having to get shot at and hit from the enemy, then shot at and hit by our own people. Then I have to maintain my composure and just keep all the smoke for the real enemy, not blast back at our own people, still not let my heart become hardened and bitter and say, F these niggas, I can't stand these. I have to make sure I have a level head and a level spirit and be balanced throughout this entire ordeal. Most people do not make it through this. As he said earlier, the vast majority take plea deals. Easy. They take a plea deal. Even if that plea deal comes with them to, you know, like having a year in prison because they're told it's less than 5 years, you'll get a year. Or, you know, you'll get 6 months and, you know, 10,000 hours of community service, but you're going to have a felony on your record for a year. That'll be reduced to a misdemeanor. But that felony on your record, you can't get a job. It's messing with your credit. It's messing with all kinds of things. And they can hold it over your head for the rest of your life. Felon Rizza Islam did this. Felon Rizza Islam fraud, you know, guilty plea, you know, person pled guilty, Rizza Islam, blah, blah, blah. You know, they always want to put something next to our name, this label. Do it with Bill Cosby and R. Kelly and this person, that person. It's always that. But when you don't bow down, you have faith. You know, again, you play your cards right. You find the right people to represent you. You got to stand strong. So they, you know, again, your brother will not have that label over him because I refuse to bow down. Even as he said earlier, he didn't find out until I went to jail for contempt of court because I called the judge a terrorist.
And I read those things on the internet. I was like, oh, Rizza needed an attorney. He in court tripping. He in court.
Hey, the Compton jumped out, bro. The Compton jumped out. I'm tired of this, goddamn. I just couldn't hold it.
Oh, shit.
It's real, man.
So yeah. How do you feel now that it's over? Does it feel real?
No, it absolutely does not, bro. To this day, I was up all day today just looking around, just like, you know, man, y'all gotta understand, like, it was on my schedule, on my calendar, every 3 months, my new court date. And every time I went to another one, I'd get that, you know, 2.5 months in advance. So I'd always have that on my calendar, you know, court. Like, imagine, I want y'all to notice, court was always on my schedule, like in my phone, court. It's always on my, just like, it's a slave type of conditioning. You're this slave is how it's conditioned to break you. As you said, it's the wearing down process. They're successful at it. Their conviction rate is high. Their rate of getting people to take plea deals is high. Like he said, they don't even report when they lose, which in this case they did. As you said, they don't count the dismissals, right?
Yeah.
It's not real, man. It doesn't feel like it's real because I've been through it for so long. So I've become accustomed and numb to it. You know, like I'm still feeling like I got to go to court 3 months from now.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I'm just thankful again, bro. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
No, I was gonna look up the on the internet to see what these numbers were.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'll look it up, you know, in the background. I don't want to stop everything just to look this stuff up.
Well, while you're doing that, let me mention this. I want y'all to do this. My emailing list, my VIP emailing list. You have to go to RizzaIslam.com or click the link in my bio to join the free emailing list, because every time updates go out for different things that we're doing in the community or stuff like this, you know, this stuff, we send it out to the VIP members on the email list. And when I say that, I'm saying you literally get that update. I want y'all to be a part of that, because that cuts out the middleman. So whenever I get taken away from, you know, from all of you or anything like that, you can rest assured, know that you're going to get a message in your email directly. We're going to send out a blast tomorrow. So I want all of you to check this out. I'm going to put this here. So go to RizzaIslam.com, or actually give me a few seconds here. I want you all to click the link in my bio in about 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna need you to click the link in your bio, because I have something for y'all. I want you to stay aware of what's going on. But really quick, while I'm adding this to this point, I've learned so much through this process. I've learned what it takes to continue pushing through. I've learned why so many rich folk get off so easily. When you hear money, that really is it. That's why the pharmaceutical companies get off. That's why the alcohol companies get off, the tobacco companies, all these chemical companies, they get off quick, because money, 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 money. I was told by my last attorney, who was a court-appointed attorney, you know, you might as well take this deal because this is what they have on you. And I started laughing, because I looked at her. I said, do you have any idea what you're showing me? She's like, well, this is what they have on you. I said, that has nothing to do with what I'm charged with. They have nothing on me, because I'm not guilty of what they are saying. And I was bold about that. My first two attorneys passed away. People thought I had my attorneys taken out, bro. I was like, what the heck? I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
I had to make sure. I was like,
Yes.
let me know before I get on if you don't want me here, because
exactly.
I don't need that type of.
Jeremy was like, hold on, bro. Before I accept the case, am I gonna be all right? I was like, you're gonna be good, bro. But like my first two attorneys passed, like back to back. My first attorney, just so y'all know, as an honorable mention, who was a good friend, who knew my family, who was there at the program watching us work with children and adults for years. His name is Gary Brown. I want you to look him up, Gary S. Brown, an older Caucasian man. He's one of the attorneys who helped Sophia Stewart, the black woman who wrote The Matrix, the black woman who wrote Terminator. He was helping her defend her case against the Wachowski brothers because of them stealing the script or the story for The Matrix and Terminator. He was my first attorney, Gary Brown. He's known me since I was about 12 years old. He knew us working in the community and all that for years. And he said, I'm not going to let them take down a good family and good people who I have witnessed help the very people who they're accusing them of not helping. That's the first attorney. Second attorney, I think was his friend, Dan Bunnett, or I don't know if he was court appointed or not, actually. I believe so. On a, what is it called? A reel that they have?
A wheel.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I'll explain that. So there's normally every county has like a public defender system. So there's a public defender office that will take cases. But the public defender's office can't represent everyone. There's conflicts of interest with some representation. So let's say, for instance, you got co-defendants on a particular case. The public defender's office cannot represent all co-defendants on the case because their interests may be adverse to each other. So the public defender's office will keep one case, one of the co-defendants, and then farm the rest of them out to private attorneys who are on a wheel, right? So private attorneys sign up. Some private attorneys will sign up for this wheel, and they will take cases from the court where the public defender's office cannot take them, and the court will pay these private attorneys to take those cases at like a reduced rate than what maybe they normally charge their regular clients, right? If they're of the caliber to charge their clients more money than what the court is paying. Sometimes these court-appointed attorneys get on the wheel because they don't have enough money, and it's just a means to supplement their income because maybe they're mediocre private attorneys, and they will get on the wheel, and the court will appoint them cases, and it helps their practice. So you had likely a court-appointed attorney, which is a private attorney that's getting paid by the court. It's different from a public defender. Public defenders, they work for the public defender office. The court-appointed attorneys have their own, firms, but they're being paid by the court.
See, very critical that you all know the difference sincerely. And this is why, again, make sure y'all follow Acelia Law. Make sure you follow Celia Law. Make sure you follow Jeremy McLamont, because he knows his stuff. Clearly, case dismissed. Rizza Islam, case dismissed. Okay. But I wanted you to go over that because my first attorney was Gary Brown, as I mentioned. He was defending Sophia Stewart, the sister who wrote The Matrix and Terminator. And she was fighting against the Wachowski brothers, who, by the way, they now refer to themselves as the Wachowski sisters and are now trans. Interesting. All right, so that's a whole other topic. But he was defending her on that and helping with that case. Then you have Dan Bunnett. He was my second attorney. And he ended up passing away. So Gary passed, and then after him, Dan Bunnett passed. And then after Dan Bunnett, then you had another attorney that I had, and I didn't have her for too long. But she was trying to offer me the plea deals and say, this is another deal that they're offering you. I think she mentioned 2 of them. And I said, no, I'm not taking any plea deals because I'm not going to plead guilty to something that I did not do. And I have literally stood on that for 10 damn years. I said, I don't care what they offer. I don't care what they say. Prove it. And they couldn't prove it. And so by the time I found out about some of the additional things they were doing, I said, you know what? I know who to call. And I said, I'm going to call my brother, Jeremy, McLamont, and see if he's practicing, if his firm is everything's up and running. Is he taking cases? Is he available? All of that. That brother said, send me over the information. I sent it to him. He said, damn, I didn't know you had all of this going on. But he said, I'm going to fly out there. I'm going to go ahead and switch out and make it happen. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. When two young, bold, intelligent, strong black men with integrity walk into a courthouse, let me paint this picture for you. You know what? I got to go here and add this picture, so y'all can understand. The judge who just tried my case is the same judge who tried the killer of Nipsey Hussle, right? H. Clay, I believe. Right, Judge?
Yeah, H. Clay Jackie.
Okay. The same courtroom that we were in is that courtroom, and that's the same judge. The courtroom right next to it is where O.J. Simpson and Johnny Cochran had the legendary case. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's right. That's where Cochran freed O.J.
Okay.
And then down the hall, that floor in that courtroom is where all of the high-profile cases are. So we would go to court for your case, and down the hall would be the I don't remember this guy's
Harvey
name. One of the
Weinstein.
Yeah, there we go.
Harvey
down the hall.
Weinstein's case is going on down the hall. Okay. Tory Lanez case was being tried on the same floor, high profile floor. I just want y'all to understand what this system was doing, because when I had my first 2 attorneys, we weren't on that floor. They had us on the lower floor, the non-high profile floor. I was supposed to be off the case years ago, but somebody, I don't know who, one of the journalists, one of these bloggers, they mentioned something to somebody about who I was. They Googled me, found out who I was, and they said, oh, no, we can, blow this thing up. We can make this bigger now. And so they brought us upstairs to the high profile floor. They brought in Channel 7. They brought in these other mainstream media, outlets and different bloggers. And that's when I started to see more people coming in who were all journalists and reporters. And I'm like, where the hell did they come from? And that's when it became much bigger. They found out who I was, and it became more of a targeting type of deal. It wasn't just, this is another criminal that we're looking at. No, they started to sharpen and hone in to target me. And that's that we found that out. And I said, wow, this is wicked, man, but the system is real. And I didn't, I knew, but I experienced it myself on the highest level, really, because we're already at the White House right now. Our name is there, but they try to come at your brother in this way. And I want y'all to spread this seriously. I want you to spread this so people know. I have not spoken about it because I wanted to make sure we got it done so that now it's a testimony and the facts. This is my attorney. He can verify everything that I'm saying here, because it really became quite crazy. I mean, it became insane. They said, we're going to shut this nigga up quick, one way or another. We're going to do something. And they wanted to put a label on me so that you wouldn't listen to anything that I would say.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
Yeah. 2 teaching points that I want to make sure that we go over.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen people in the comments asking about, because I'm from Florida and I'm barred in Florida, and they're wondering how it is that I was able to represent you in California. So basically, for every state, you've got to pass the bar in character and fitness in that state in order to practice in that state. So if I'm in Florida, I got to pass the Florida bar. They have this relatively new bar. It's called the multi-state bar exam, and there are certain states, I think maybe almost 30 or so states, that if you take that one exam, you can now practice, or you can use those scores, that score, to practice in other, or to apply to practice in other jurisdictions in other states. Florida is not a part of that test, right? So if I take the Florida bar exam, I'm only barred in Florida, right? And in order to practice in California, I had to get special admission from the court. It's what they call pro hoc vice. All right, so I had to apply under someone else's bar license to practice in California and under Rizza's case, and I can't do it, as many times as I want. It's the judge could deny it the next time, right? And they say, like, you need to stop trying to get special admission for every case that you represent people on, and just take the California bar, which is what I'm probably going to end up doing in February. So after 5 years of practicing, I can take what's called an attorney's exam in California. It's not the baby bar like what's her name, Kim Kardashian. I don't know what that is, the baby bar.
Kim Kardashian,
But
the baby bar. Go ahead, bro.
but but the attorney's exam is just like a writing portion. It's not all the exam that you would typically take starting out. So it's less work and whatnot. So I'll probably take that in February, and then I'll be barred to practice in California. But that's how I was able to represent you. So I've had people like contact me and like, can you take a case here? Can you take a case there? I can't. It's only if I apply in that special manner, but that takes work, and sometimes not sometimes. Most times it's not worth it, right? Obviously in this case it was worth it. I'm dealing with Rizza's case, and it was worth getting this off his back and whatnot. But this, if you got like a petty misdemeanor, if you have a grand theft, it's just not worth me coming to Nevada or the state of Washington to come and fight the government on that. But God's willing, in the future we'll have more offices and we'll branch out. That's one thing.
We'll make sure.
I pull up the numbers.
Okay, go ahead.
I pull up the numbers. So I'm gonna just see if I can turn this screen around.
Hope y'all listening to this, and make sure you share this story out. Subscribe to RizzaIslam.com. Click the link in my bio and subscribe to our VIP mailing list. So go ahead, my brother.
So, all right, this is the Medi-Cal website, right? And they keep track of the statistics. For what reason, I don't know. But so there's your fraud cases. Your case would fall under fraud, right? Across the top, those are the years: 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, wow. 19, 20, right? It looks like a
99%.
Yeah, it looked like a basketball lineup statistic or a box score.
True.
So in 15, 16, they had 167 criminal cases that they filed, 101 convictions, and 1 acquittal. So that means only 1 person went into trial and won that year. The criminal restitution that was paid out was at $37 million, and the civil monetary recovery is 100. Am I saying that? Yeah, 37 million, 109 million for civil monetary recoveries. All right, so if you keep going across, remember the top line is your criminal filings. You got in 2016, you got 148, and then that number 130 on the second line is for your convictions, right? So only 18 people were spared from convictions in that year, and 2 people were acquitted. 17, 18, you got 185 filings. You got 142 convictions and 1 acquittal.
Wow.
18, 19, you got 84 filings, right? That number at the top is how many filings. You got more convictions
wow.
in 18, 19 than you had criminal filings. What does that mean? It's the people from the year before or the years prior that you ended up getting convicted in 18, 19, so they just counted it on there. So you're over 100%. On that year. 0 people acquitted. They were going hard that year. 0 people acquitted. But they didn't really.
Now this is the racket right here. Go ahead.
They didn't really recover much money that year, so compared to the other years. So that year they recovered $4.5 million. As compared to like the next year, 22, the year prior, 18, 23, 37 in 2015. 2016. So my guess is that in 2018 and 2019, they probably did what they did in your case, which was to offer a bunch of plea deals and take away the restitution amount, right? So then they don't recover any money. Maybe that's what that is, maybe not. But that it just appears that maybe the situation there. Then in 2019, 2020, you got 101 criminal filings, 85 convictions, and one person acquitted. So those are the numbers that I was referring to when we first started live, and that's how they keep track of it. And as you can see, it's like it's a slim chance that you get out of it when you get in it. So
wow, man, this is how they enslave people in a major way. That was crazy. And what website was that so that the people can go look at that themselves? Does that show state by state, or is that just for
no,
California?
that's just for California in the Medi-Cal section of it. So it's the OAG, Office of Attorney General. It's OAG.ca for California.gov. And then you just go to the Medi-Cal section and you can see the numbers.
Wow. I need y'all to know this, man. Seriously, before we get off, they make so much money. They make so much money locking us up. It is not a funny thing at all. They make so much money just through the process. They make so much money with everything they do. Every step, they make a lot of money. I mean, it blew my mind, honestly, Jeremy, looking at this. While they're accusing people of fraud, they are committing the biggest fraud themselves. Like the whole system, how it's operating, is totally fraudulent for the vast
Yeah.
majority of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they knew that they couldn't prosecute you, they should have dismissed the case. They shouldn't have offered you plea deals knowing that they couldn't prove their case. The prosecutor's job is not to win. It's to make sure that they, have evidence to convict someone before they go forward on the prosecution end of it. Right? It's not to win. Like that, nowhere in the book does it say prosecutor's job is to win a case. Defense attorney is different, right? We got to win cases.
Yes.
That's our goal. Our goal is, in some courts, they have this sign in the courtroom that says, we who labor here seek only the truth. Defense attorneys, we seek either not guilty verdict or dismissal, regardless of, and maybe there's some that seek the truth, whatever. I'm looking for acquittals. I'm looking for not guilty verdicts. I'm looking to get my client out of the government's jaws, right? But as a prosecutor, and as a judge, your job is to be objective. It's to determine what evidence is there, and if you cannot prove a case, then you should get rid of it. If the person is, if in your opinion, you don't have enough evidence to prove your burden beyond into the exclusion of every reasonable doubt, you should get rid of the case. And they knew that, and they still offered you plea deals. They still tried to pressure you to take a plea. They still filed additional charges when you told them you didn't want to take the plea, and that's business as usual with the system, and it's why America has the most is the most incarcerative country nation in the world, right? And in every statistics, no matter how many, the amount of people, the rate of people who are being in prison, it's crazy. There's no country that comes close to it.
Over 20%
And we're supposed to be
of the world's prisoners.
we're supposed to be the land of the free,
Man.
right?
With over 20% of the world's prisoners per capita, meaning in America there are more people in prison, per around its own demographic and its number of people that live in the nation versus anyone else. America has more prisoners in her prisons than any other nation has in theirs. It's really insane. And for them to try to set up, see, if I didn't have proper counsel, this is why you have to have proper counsel. Even if you don't have the money, you want to get consultation. You want to call people who are in this profession, who are professionals, who know what they're doing. You want to ask them specific questions. You want to really get, even if you have to pay them just to get this advice and walk you through some things, go meet with them, sit down with them. How much is it per hour for you to, mentor me on step, walking through this, whatever it is you got to do. You have to do that in order to fight for yourself. Because I promise y'all, I never trust this system. I never will trust this system. And this system doesn't like your brother. And after this, they really don't like your brother. We don't know. We don't show them up when it comes to the shots. We've embarrassed them to the highest level of government. And now we have gotten off on something totally dismissed because they couldn't prove it, because it was a lie from the beginning and they knew it was, because you don't need 8 years to prove something that you have over 10,000, 20,000 documents supposedly proven. All this paperwork and you can't prove? Really?
I take issue with the 10,000, 20,000 documents, because I was reviewing a lot more than that.
That's true,
I
my
was
man. You're right.
I was reviewing a lot more than that. You undershooting
That,
my work.
that's true. That's true. No,
Yeah, there's a lot more.
how much
Go
was
ahead.
it that you remember? Because I do remember it was upwards of over 50,000 documents, just so y'all
So
know.
to count it, I'd have to go back through, but I mean, like you'd open one PDF and there's like 3,000 pages,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just one PDF. And the PDFs were labeled like box 4, 1 of 3, box 4, 2 of 3, box 4, 3 of 3. And right, when they say box, it means banker box. So what they did was they had all these banker boxes, and they scanned all the documents in from the banker box and sent it over. And so you're talking about boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of documents.
Boy.
So, um, yeah. So look, even my assistant's on here. He talking about, I know I did more than 30,000 easy.
That's a fact, yes. And shout out to the Acelia Law Firm team. Shout out
Yeah.
to all of y'all who are on this, because I want y'all to understand this too. When you have the proper representation, they will go to bat for you. Like when you hear that classic, we'll fight for you. Okay, yeah, that's a classic saying. Okay, everybody doesn't do that. They do that. And I mean this. They shut down everything to address this case. And that's why I'm telling you, I was pushing to make sure I got them paid every dime that they need. They deserve it all. Because this right here, this is the work that people need to see. Young black men, young black women, young individuals coming together to fight for the freedom of people who absolutely deserve it. I mean that. Because your brother would have been in jail if I had the improper representation. Somebody would have just pushed plea deals on me until I buckled and took one. But when you have somebody who sincerely not only cares about your case, but cares about you as a person, they have to learn about you as a person. They have to learn about you you got to learn your client. This is a simple thing. You got to know who your client is first off. And then from there, you have to go into the evidence and you have to break things down. We had witnesses, we had testimonies, we had documentation of our own ready. Like I said, look, bro, we're going to war. What you need? I kept asking him. He was like, "Rizza, it's not the quantity." I said, "How many people you need to be there? How many students? How many? Jerry, bro, I'm gonna make some calls. How many people you need to show?" He was like, "It's not the quantity, but not." Okay, he said it's the quality. I said, "I got you. We got both. What you need? But but you got to be right, y'all. That's my point. You got to be clean, because if I really were guilty of these things, if I were guilty, I can't say I'd be free if I genuinely were guilty. But your brother's not. And it took a decade for this to be proven. So again, my brother, I appreciate you, man. What else would you want to say? Because I know you had something. I saw something going on in your mind.
Well, no, just to piggyback off of that, like if you were guilty, they would have tried the case.
Right.
Like their bosses, everybody has a boss, right? And the prosecutor isn't gonna go up to their boss and be like, "Yo, when we got to court today, we wasn't ready. We've been doing this like 10 years. The investigation been going on 10 years, and we just felt like we wasn't ready when we got to court today. So we just told the judge we wasn't ready, and we let them dismiss the case. Like prosecutor is not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to go to their boss and have that conversation after after 10 years investigation, wasting thousands of dollars in resources and time on
Taxpayer dollars,
investigating this case.
right? That
Yeah,
they're not wasting.
taxpayer dollars. The same, taxes that we all pay, right? That'd be expensive as hell. And I know in California, I think y'all get taxed more than we get in tax in
Yes.
Florida. I don't know nothing about that, and I
Yes.
don't want to know nothing about it.
Jeez.
But yeah, so that taxpayer money, when they take half your check, they put it towards prosecuting, people like Rizza, and then they come to court and they say, "Oh, we're not ready for trial. We're not prepared," because after spending all y'all's money and wasting everyone's time and having people fly back and forth to go to court, we never really had a case to begin with, and we just hoped that he would plea out to something while the case was going on. So it's just crazy.
Man, I want to give a round of applause to our brother Jeremy, to all of those at the Acelia Law Firm. I want to give a shout out to y'all for your hard work, dedication, for the love you have for the people, truly, because it takes that more than anything else. Of course, we believe that nothing happens without Almighty God, Allah's help and permission. That's a fact. Because again, you can boast in all things righteous, but when I tell you I said I was never going to bow, bro, And I was bragging about the fact that I don't give a damn what anyone says. I don't care who comes against me. I don't give a damn how many punctified, weak Mickey Mouse milquetoast niggas on the internet talk. And they always stay on the internet and talk because not one of you niggas will ever. Yes, milk toast. You ever put some toast in milk? Okay, that's an old school saying. If you ever put toast in milk, you watch it, let it get soggy into the breakup, all into the milk. My point is, you have to stop listening to random people on the internet who make things sound convincing. Because I've been waiting this long, bro, to correct people and to check people. But I said I first have to get through this. So now you got some people who still was like, well, I mean, yeah, the case is dismissed, but you know, I think he's still. No, I don't give a damn what you think. If the system that paid all this money to come after your brother, that had tens of thousands of so-called documents and proof to show that I'm guilty of anything, but then when the day comes, we pull up to the courthouse with all of our documents ready to go, they say, oh, we're not prepared. You were never prepared, and your minions and your niggas, your devils in blackface on the internet, who was telling people, ooh, Rizza's guilty of this. Y'all look, he's, oh my God, criminal, blah, blah, blah. Y'all know how the niggas in bow ties are. Ooh, yeah, see his mama this, ooh, his family. It's like, you know, all of you weird Negroes, I know this is going to get posted up on YouTube. I'm putting a call out to all of you. See me in person at any event, and I want you to stand up in front of everyone, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to apologize. I'm not going to accept it, but maybe somebody in the audience will. So I'm going to give you that opportunity, all of you, because not one of you weird Negroes have ever stepped foot in person to me, and I finally can take the gloves off, bro. I finally can. I just want y'all to understand the energy I'm coming with, because it's too real.
Rizza say he putting cases.
Come on
all you. He putting cases on all you Negroes.
Man, you thought I was Denzel before. No, man, but I love it, bro. I'm still high right now, mentally, spiritually. I'm still thankful. I'm still marinating in it. My family thanks you. My family thanks the entire team at Celia Law Firm. Again, man, this was for my mom. This was for moms, y'all. It's above all else and above everyone else. This was for my mother, and I'm only saying that because even though they were saying all of what they were saying, you know, all these awards, I was excited. And before we get off, I was excited to hear your opening statement, bro. That's what I was looking forward to. Like what you're going to say at the beginning, you know, ladies and gentlemen of the jury in the court, my name is Jeremy McLemont. Let me tell you a tale of corruption. I don't know how you're going to do it. Deception,
like,
corruption.
KRS-One rap.
For real, man, hit him with that deception, corruption, judge. You know what it is. Like,
yeah. Nah, I mean, I could probably give out like a little sample of what I would have said.
Come on, man, talk to us, bro, because I was looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I gotta get in character.
You gotta get in character.
The way I am now, you know, in regular is just a whole different. Like you go into courtrooms, it's just a whole different thing.
He's calm and cool, but I know in court, brother was about to turn on his inner Johnny Cochran. Brother was about to go in. If the glove don't fit, like he was about to just. You see how tall he is? He barely getting through that door. Case dismissed. Goddamn it, he's not guilty. Like he's gonna just start. Hit the gavel, judge. Give me the gavel. Oh man, that would have been so funny. But no, I want to hear. Yeah, this right here is interesting to me.
So, I mean, just for people who maybe weren't in there in the beginning, you know, my opening statement would go after the prosecution's opening statement. So the jury would have a sense of the case before I get up and I speak. And so I don't have to go back over, you know, all the facts and the timeline and whatnot in the opening statement necessarily, right? There's some certain things that I would, you know, go over. But generally, or what I would have expected the prosecution to do was to come out swinging and say that, you know, Rizza was a teacher or a fake teacher in this program for X amount of years, and he was involved in teaching these students Scientology, and he was involved in Like just you know, what would they say?
Mm.
That you weren't teaching. They said you weren't teaching, that you were involved in creating fake sign-in sheets for students that were in your class, and that you would create fake progress notes, right? And that they would that you would take these progress notes and provide them to, you know, the upper level management at the facility, and then they would then turn in those progress reports and those notes and the sign-in sheets to the Medi-Cal, and then Medi-Cal would pay you all for the services that you did not provide to these students. And that was the scheme that you would continue to do. And it was a cycle, boom, boom, boom. And then they would say that Rizza Islam helped the company make like $3 million or whatever, and he got paid.
Tell him how much.
How
Go
much,
ahead, tell him.
how much did you get from the scheme? So then there was a portion of the discovery that says how much money Rizza was being paid, right? And so Rizza is being paid like $1,700 a month
Less than that.
for
Yes.
teaching. Less than that, and like you can't even pay your rent with that money.
Come on, bro. Say it
And
again.
it's
No,
supposed
no.
to
Say it
have
again. How much
he's
is not
supposed to,
getting paid?
but you tell me.
How much?
Yeah, it was so small, like it was so insignificant that it was just
Fifteen
like
hundred and
it,
fifty dollars a
yeah,
month.
it don't make sense. They had in the discovery, they had a letter that Rizza wrote to his employer saying, you know, these are my bills at the time. Like this is how much I pay in rent. This is what I pay in gas. This is what I pay in lights. And I need a raise because I can't afford to live on this salary. That was in the discovery. Because they went to the facility, and they grabbed all the computers, and they made sure that they wiped them all up, and took everything, and that was in the discovery. It's like he's asking for a raise, and they're saying he stole $3 million from the government. In what world does that make sense, right? Um, but but to go back to my opening statement, it probably would have been something like you know, when the contract was being signed with Medi-Cal, Rizza Islam wasn't there. He was somewhere in this world teaching. And when Medi-Cal was being billed for students that were or were not in these classrooms, Rizza wasn't in those back rooms. He wasn't having those conversations with anyone. He was somewhere in this world teaching. And when you woke up this morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I don't know what you were doing when you were brushing your teeth, but I know most likely what Rizza Islam was doing. He was somewhere in this world teaching. And when you lay your head on that pillow tonight, tomorrow, next week, Rizza will be somewhere in this world teaching.
Oh,
So,
bro.
ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the government cast a net that's too big, that was too big, and Rizza got caught in that net. But the great thing about every net is that every net is made with holes.
Come on,
Rizza,
bro.
Rizza,
Go ahead.
Rizza, Rizza is the last man standing. Everyone else in this case took a plea. Dozens of people were rounded up in this witch hunt. Dozens. And Rizza is the last man standing. And that's not for any random reason. That's for the reason that, you know, everyone in this room needs to know, is that Rizza Islam is innocent. Rizza Islam was a teacher before Medi-Cal was being built. He was a teacher while Medi-Cal was being built, and to this day, Rizza Islam is still a teacher. Someone who teaches his people right from wrong. Someone who teaches his people to stay away from drugs and alcohol. Someone who teaches his people how to pull themselves up out of the condition that they're in. Someone who teaches his people to be an example. Today is the most important day of Rizza's life. Treat it fairly. I have an innocent person's life in my hands, and so do each and every one of you. At the end of this trial, we're confident, more than confident, that after you review all the evidence in this case, after you look at the allegations and you compare them to what you see, what you hear, what you don't see, and what you don't hear, that at the end of this trial, you will be jumping at that verdict form, so that you can mark on that verdict form that Rizza Islam is not guilty, not just to one of the counts, not just to two of the counts, but to all of the counts that the prosecution, that the government, the Attorney General's office has filed against Rizza. And we're confident you'll mark in unison, in unanimity, that Rizza Islam is not guilty of these offenses. Thank you.
Man, come on, bro. People out there tearing
Been
up, brother. They're
something.
like, man, hold on now. Wait a
It'd have been
minute.
something like that.
Man, look, got the case dismissed. Then the judgment. You know what? Case
we didn't even get to go there.
It didn't even like we barely got to sit down. The seats didn't even get warm. We barely got to sit down. And that judge, I mean, I was shocked. I want y'all to understand this. Thoroughly, they had only one news media company that was approved to be in there, and that was ABC7. So we get in there, cameras are not in there. We only had the people who showed up, for us, former staff, students, family, my legal representation. There were, our journalists. You have to make sure, that's another thing. Make sure you are documenting everything. You have to have a copy of everything, video, audio, you have to have pictures, you have to have documentation, all of that yourself, so that you can tell your own story. And make sure that when they try to put something out, you put the truth out. But we get in there, again, for those who just came in here, this is the same judge who just tried and convicted the killer of Nipsey Hussle. Same courtroom that's right next door. The next door over was where O.J. Simpson got acquitted. Down the hall is where Harvey Weinstein's case was. Down the hall is where Tory Lanez's case was. This is all on the same floor. And this judge looks at the prosecutor in shame. She wasn't even dressed properly. I'm talking about just defeated. just like, look, it's been roughly 10 years and we ain't found nothing on this Negro. Okay. Look, Your Honor, we're not able to proceed at this point, or we're not, I think, not prepared.
Yeah.
Right. To go to trial or proceed at this point. Judge looks at Jeremy, then, he looks over there and looks at my attorney and says, so what would you like to do? Jeremy says, motion to dismiss the case, Your Honor. This man, I want y'all to know how this feels. I'm putting you in this experience with me. In a soft voice, this judge, a black man, and I'm highlighting that because he's the fourth judge that ended up on the case. 3 judges tossed this case out because they already knew. But he gets it. He looked at Jeremy and he said, case dismissed. Bro, I was like, I was like, it can't be that easy. I looked at Jeremy. Jeremy looked at me. I looked at Jeremy. He was like, I was like, so what do we do now? He's like, bro, you're done. I said, what? He said, yeah, it's over. I was like, what? I mean, what? No one knew what to do. So after like 10 seconds, then everybody started clapping because they were like, that's not, is it really 10 years in 5 minutes? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Sometimes I forget to look at it from my client's perspective.
Yeah.
So when you didn't realize, and I saw the look on your face, like kind of confused, and you didn't realize like what had just happened, I kind of forget that on the other side of it, like you don't go to court every day, and you don't have cases, and this doesn't happen to you every day, like these sorts of things. And so you're in there, and all you know is that you've been preparing for this moment for this long, and you're expecting like a bunch of fireworks. And then when we get in there, and the prosecution, who is dressed like she is ready to go to Central Park, for a picnic, and they get in there and they say they're not ready, and it moves so quick. I mean, this happens in like 5 seconds. And we're not ready. The judge asks, you have a motion? I say, yeah, judge, I have a motion to dismiss. And he says, motion granted. That happens in like 10 seconds. And so you're like, wait, slow down. What just happened?
Bro.
Like, slow down, like 10 seconds.
Yeah, because all I'm used to hearing is, a court will reconvene at this date,
Yeah.
see, whatever. So I'm used to coming back to court for 8.5 years every 3 months. I did not expect to hear. I at least was expecting to be in trial for a week, because he got prepared to be in trial. They set it for 3 weeks roughly. He was here with like half his house prepared and ready to stay in LA for 3 straight weeks until we got the trial done. And we get up there and I'm like, bro, you can't, man, like, I don't think y'all understand being dragged through this for roughly a decade, humiliated, accused, talked dirty about by your own people, by the enemy, from all directions, and you mean to tell me it was all over in less than 300 seconds? I'm still processing this. I just want y'all to understand this, man. Like, it's a big deal. My brother here is used to being in court all the time. It's in his blood. He's used to it. He know what it is. But I'm not used to being in court like this. So now, knowing I don't have to go back anymore, this is off me, this is over, it's still something that I'm dealing with mentally, to realize. But also, I was ready for you to go over the list of all the seals that I have. This is Congress. This is my congressional award by Congresswoman Karen Bass, who's now the mayor of LA. He was going to mention that there. Here's my recognition here by City of Los Angeles, officially. City of Los Angeles, the seal right there. They refer to me, they call me the voice of the city of Los Angeles. That was December 7th, 2019. That was Corinne D. Price Jr., councilman, right? So I got that from the mayor, or pardon me, mayor, city council of LA, congresswoman. This is Congress. All right, got that. I have all these awards, all this stuff here. Boom. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. One more you guys want to mention. There's a lot more, but some of the ones that he was going to mention to the judge. This is from the mayor and city council of Compton. Let me just let you know what year this is. 2010. 2010. I had already been doing this work in the real world, in the community for years. The mayor and city council, that's the seal of Compton, California. You see, that's the seal right there. The mayor at the time was Eric J. Perriton. I've been doing the work so well back then in the community. I was not on social media in 2010, y'all. I wasn't on Instagram until 6 years later. So I'm like, so when they're like, you weren't teaching anybody, you weren't, what? What? I'm like, what are you talking about? What awards from this Leadership Development Academy, YMCA, from their national headquarters because of the work I was doing in the community. Proclamation, my own holiday, mayor and city council, South Fulton, Georgia. Bro, I have so many awards and plaques. I can pull them out from everywhere. You serious? I can do this all day. And I was waiting for Jeremy to go down that list to the jury. Guess what? And he just start going down. The mayor said, this mayor said, I was just waiting, bro. I was waiting, man. Yeah. But, Allah did it. God did that. We didn't need to do it. We'll save it for another time. I appreciate you, man, for taking out your time, really, for studying law, for going into law, which is one of the most difficult fields to go in for many of you who don't thoroughly know what they have to go through to get this degree. I really appreciate you for doing that and thinking about your people, because that's an area where we are heavily underrepresented properly, heavily underrepresented, which is why they tossed so many of us into this modern slave plantation. But you helped your brother to escape from that simply by proving it with the facts and presenting it and prepping and putting it together. We didn't do no special stuff, y'all. Everybody was like, well, because he got connections to it. Nigga, I'm using the term right now so we can make this clear. Y'all can try to run around all day. The actual facts that the United States government has stamped and said about Rizza Islam is case dismissed. Stop trying to cap for the white man and stop trying to audition to take his position. It's over. Like it's over. All y'all on YouTube, it's over. And I really want to see y'all again. You might want to get your apologies ready, because we've already gotten your videos, and all of you who were defaming me and slandering and libel and all that, I got a list. So I'm going to give you a chance to apologize, just so you know. But go ahead, my brother. I'm going to give you the last word, man. We're going to hop off of here because, this is going to go up everywhere.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job breaking down the case. So, I know a lot of people have been asking, what were you charged with? What was the situation and whatnot? So I think watching the video, you'll get an idea of it. You also learn about some of the injustices that go on in the country. It's good to highlight those things because people don't really realize how the system is until you're in it.
Yes.
And once you're in it, it's too late. Like at that point, to try to figure it out, because it moves quick. And if you don't have, someone that you know that you can call on that can break down, how the criminal system works and whatnot, you will find yourself in a world of hell,
Yes.
right? Either you're taking a plea or you end up on probation, which is really just a layaway plan for jail, or you're going to jail or you're going to prison or whatever, right? You spending money on lawyers that end up not doing nothing. Then you got to go and hire another lawyer to fix what the first lawyer did, and you out even more money, right? And luckily you have support. You have support that you could have that you leaned on in order to get some of these legal fees paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had someone who was willing to work with you on those payments.
Yes.
But that's not everybody. Not everybody has that ability to do that, and so they end up taking pleas. But everything worked out for you because of the person that you are, and the case was dismissed because it should have never been brought in the first place. But yeah, anybody that got anything to say about Rizza, about his case, and what facts you think you know and don't know? I reviewed the discovery. My team reviewed the discovery, and case was dismissed at the end of the day.
And y'all heard it here first, directly from your two brothers in it. My brother, again, Jeremy. Can't thank you enough again, my brother. Shout out to your family, to the team at Acelia Law Firm. We all going out to eat next time I get out there, y'all. We're going to do something. I don't know. We're going to hang out, to celebrate. And again, keep up the great work. Everyone, please follow Acelia Law Firm. What is your website as well for those who are going to be watching this later because it's going to be seen out.
Yeah. Everything is Acelia Law. So AceliaLaw.com. Acelia is spelled, let me put it on here. ASILIA law.com. So that's the website. I don't know if we can. I don't know how to use Instagram Live. You can pin it, right?
Once you post it, once you type it in there and you press send, then once it comes up, you press hold it.
Got it.
There you go.
Got it. Yeah. So also, I want to shout out everyone on my team by name. Those sort of two attorneys that work alongside me at my firm, Yesley Herrera and Shelly Lucin. Then we got interns, Justin Coffey, he's in law school still. We got Courtney, she's in law school as well. Alexandria, law school. 3 interns that was helping work on this case. And then my assistants, like the legal assistants, like the people who answer the phones, they were looking through discovery. So my uncle who works as my assistant, Jamar Thompson, who just got out of prison last year. He did 10 years in prison. He got out and he's working at the law firm now. So that's the type of people that we have at the firm, is the people that can relate to our clients and whatnot. And then last, but not least, is Francois Watson, who's also on our team and also helped with everything that has to do with this case.
Man. Shout out to the team again, man. You got me tearing up, bro, because that's wow. Shout out to the team. Acelia Law, y'all A1. Y'all deserve 1 million+ followers, and you, as you mentioned, a few locations. Yeah, y'all need to have one in every major city in the country. Seriously, I mean, I see it. I see you having your office in California, Texas. I see it all over, bro. Nevada, you're gonna need that because you got a bunch of people with a lot of money, and they're gonna need your help over there. So yeah, man, I appreciate you, bro. Make sure everybody, please click the link in my bio right now and subscribe to our free email list. Please pay attention to the emailing list because everything gets sent to you directly, all the updates, the solutions, different things we're doing in the community, all the things. Please make sure you go to RizzaIslam.com or click the link in the bio, do that. Also, as he was mentioning, when it comes to the legal fees, he definitely worked with me. However, I want to make sure I get that closed out and resolved completely because all the people who helped with this case are people too. And they have families, and our brother has a family, and this is their expertise. They take out their time, to help to make sure the law is applied properly for their clients. So I want to make sure they are taken care of properly. So please make sure you also click the link in the bio to support that, or go to, I think, the third to last post and, you know, find a way that you can contribute in one of those options. And yeah, bro, I'm overwhelmed, man. Definitely overwhelmed. I know everybody watching the YouTube, watching this video. If you don't like Rizza Islam, I don't give a damn. I can tell you that with sincere, heartfelt, general sincerity. I really don't give a damn. But I do care about our people. And for those of you who love ignorance and drama and all that, you're sick, and I pray you get help, and I pray you wake up, because to be honest with you, we have a bigger system that is really trying to come after all of us. So we need to end this petty arguing, end the self-hatred, and God willing, we'll actually come out in a better condition. So yeah, my brother, I appreciate you again. This is beautiful, man. So Rizza case dismissed Islam from now on. Address me as such. All right. All right, my brother.
All right.
Peace.
Later.